On the 17th of August, around 200 community members and activists from Stop the War on Palestine marched to Albanese's office on Gadigal land to demand that he cut Australia's ties with Israel's genocide. It was a lively march through Albanese's own electorate, with anti-war slogans and cries of intifada revolution drawing people out of cafes and workplaces all down Marrickville Road from Sydenham Station. Speakers included Students Against War's Angus Dermody, Palestinian anti-war activist Sami Nasser, Inner West councillor and NTEU member Dylan Griffiths, and Adam Adelpour from Stop the War on Palestine. You're listening to The Sound of Solidarity, brought to you by Solidarity. We're a revolutionary socialist group in Australia, and if you'd like to find out more about us, our website is solidarity.net.au. I'm Manu, and I recorded this episode on the unceded lands of the Gadigal and Wangal people of the Eora Nation.
Alright everyone, we're going to get this rally started. Welcome everyone. Before we begin, I just want to acknowledge that we are meeting on stolen land. Sovereignty was never ceded, and as we demand justice for Palestinians, we do so remaining steadfast in our commitment to liberation for all people, to demand land back and to stand in solidarity and take inspiration from the resistance of Indigenous people resisting occupation across the whole globe, from the frontier wars on this continent to October 7. We have been waiting, with bated breath the last little while to see how Iran might retaliate to Israel's ongoing assault across the region. The escalation and the bloodshed now poses a serious question and possibility for war to spread and further destabilize the Middle East. The bloodshed has been never-ending, with over 40,000 Palestinians massacred by the terrorist state of Israel to this date. Shame. So far, Netanyahu has completely torpedoed any possibility for a ceasefire, assassinating Hamas's leader Ismaili Haniyeh and also killing the Hezbollah commander in Beirut. All gestures towards a ceasefire and talks of peace have been proven to be brutally hollow. The carnage and the violence that Israel has unleashed across the region is done so with the complicity of our leaders. And as much as they try to cripple hope and resistance domestically with the assassination of freedom fighters within the region, they can't deny the fact that millions across the globe have continued to come out in support of Palestinians again and again for the last 10 months. Just this last little while, Wong came out to celebrate the Geneva Convention, meanwhile ignoring all international law when it comes to Palestine. The contradictions are sharpening. Wong had to come out and condemn civilian deaths after the Al Tabeen school massacre, killing 100 people. The Albanese government has also come out to raise the terror threat to probable, saying that more Australians are embracing a more diverse range of extremist ideologies, and it's our responsibility to be vigilant. But make no mistake, we are vigilant. We saw Albo posing with the drone that was complicit in genocide after denying supplying these weapons. For shame. The last time the terror threat was this high was when Australia sent its troops to commit war crimes in Afghanistan. We see the largest terror threat to peace and safety, and it's coming from within the halls of Parliament. We're disgusted by the blatantly racist targeting of Muslim and Arab communities now. Declaring southern Lebanon as a declared area under counter-terrorism laws. For shame. The racist rejection of refugee visa applications of Palestinians. We say, welcome refugees, and shame on this government. We're here today to demand that this government, needs to act on the ICJ ruling to sanction apartheid Israel, to stop arms trade with Israel, and to stop supplying the F-35 fighter jet parts that are responsible for raining hell on Gaza right now. We're just going to hear from Students Against War speaker from Sydney Uni, Angus Dermody.
Thanks. As Tuva said, my name is Angus. I'm a member of Students Against War. at the University of Sydney, where last week over 600 students packed into lecture theatres on campus for a student general meeting to vote for two motions to support Palestine. The first to cut ties with Israel and defend the right to protest for Palestine on campus, and the second to affirm the right of Palestinians to resist Israel's oppression and endorse the demand for a single democratic secular Palestinian state from the river to the sea. Both motions were voted for overwhelmingly, over 600 students. Only 5 miserable Zionists voted against them. It was an incredible moment for the movement on campus, not just because of that result, but also because of the mood that it represents. 10 months ago, the idea that hundreds of students at USyd would vote to affirm the right of Palestinians to armed resistance or endorse one state would have been laughable. It shows you very clearly how far we've come, and also the mood that is still there to deepen the fight for Palestine on and off campus. When the conservatives who were there attempted to move a motion to condemn Hamas, to condemn the Palestinian resistance, they were shouted down, they were booed until they had to withdraw. When the SRC officials tried to wrap up the meeting before students could vote in favor of armed resistance and one state, again they were shouted down and the meeting continued until students were able to vote for that. The mood was very clear in that room, but the implications go far beyond it. It was a very important response to the smears and the repression that both the Albanese government and the management of our universities have used to try and crack down on Palestine solidarity on and off campus. Since October 7, we've been smeared as supporters of terrorism, as anti-Semitic, because we oppose Israel's genocide and its continued occupation of Palestine. They've tried to stop us chanting Intifada from the river to the sea, and at USyd they brought in the draconian campus access policy, which effectively bans protests, stalls, posters, banners, in an attempt to stop us from calling out the university's complicity in genocide and supporting the fight for a free Palestine. So it was very good to see last week hundreds of students come together and vote en masse to reject those smears and to keep building the movement despite the crackdown. It's also an important response in particular to Albanese and Labor's continued efforts to cover for their complicity in genocide, to push a two-state solution as the only pathway to peace. We need to be clear, the two-state solution that Albanese pushes is no pathway to peace and justice for Palestinians. Actually, it's increasingly clear that it is not even a possibility. Israel will not allow a viable Palestinian state to exist. In July, the Israeli parliament voted overwhelmingly to reject the establishment of a Palestinian state on the basis that it would represent an existential danger to the state of Israel. But still, Albanese tries to tell us that none of us should abandon hope in the ultimate goal for a two-state solution. He tells us this as he continues to provide the material and political support needed for Israel to continue its genocidal campaign in Gaza. The F-35 fighter jets rely on parts made here in Sydney at the Quickstep factory in Bankstown. Just this year, the Albanese government gave a $917 million contract to Elbit Systems, the Israeli arms company which produced the drone, which was responsible for the killing of Australian aid worker Zomi Frankham and countless Palestinians. When Fatima Payman voted against the party to recognise a Palestinian state, in line with Labor's own party platform and with Albanese's own comments, she was effectively bullied out of the party. All of the talk of a two-state solution has been used by Albanese to cover for these crimes and to cover for the continued genocide of Palestinians. We need to build a movement which can call that out for what it is and can provide an actual vision for Palestinian liberation. That's why we put that motion up at the SGM, and that's why it was so significant that it was voted up. It was possible because of the consistent campaigning on campus since October 7, calling on our university to cut ties with Israel and the arms industry. Palestine supporters on campus feel confident to endorse these demands, still in the face of the smears from the government, the media, the university bosses, because of that campaigning. The experience of the Gaza Solidarity Encampment, which ran for 2 months on campus, in spite of management attempts to crack down on it, in spite of intimidation, it ran for 2 months. The sit-in, which kicked Tel Aviv University off our campus when management shamefully invited them to participate in the exchange fair. The defiance of the university's campus access policy, where 100 students turned up for an unauthorized stalls day in the first week of this semester in violation of that policy. It's this sort of campaigning which can deepen the solidarity for Palestine and bring the movement further. the work of going class to class, lecture hall to lecture hall, on the stalls, to keep up the arguments with students that they should support Palestine, that they need to get involved in that fight. It's this sort of work which can be done everywhere where there is a tie to Israel, and it's this sort of work which will have to be done if we want to cut our university's ties to Israel and cut the Albanese government's ties to Israel and free Palestine. Thank you.
We don't want your two-state. We want all of 48.
We don't want your two-state. We want all of 48.
We don't want your two-state.
All of 48.
We don't want your two-state.
We want all of 48.
Do you want to just let the listeners know who you are and why you're down here today?
Hi, I'm Rome de Villiers, and I'm here today to spread awareness about the genocide that's occurring in Palestine, that has been occurring for the past 10 months, that has not ceased, even though there has been proof that all of this is inhumane, that it is murder, that it is pointless, and that these people do not deserve any of this. And people need to be made aware that it's still going on and that we're not going to stop until we see a ceasefire.
Absolutely, thank you. And we're going to march to Albo's office. What do you want to say to Albo and his government today?
You are not the same person that you used to be. We know now that what you said back then were lies. You don't care about anyone.
And one last thing, what do you think it's going to take to free Palestine, in your opinion?
It's going to take whatever that we can give. It's going to take everyone to stand together. It's going to take everyone to start boycotting. It's going to take everyone to start sending in messages directly to office to tell them that we don't want to stand for this. We don't want to be a part of this. We don't want to be a country that is associated with such brutality and such horrific actions.
Albanese, you can't hide!
Albanese, you can't hide!
You're supporting genocide!
You're supporting genocide!
Albanese, you can't hide!
Okay, hello. Do you want to just introduce yourself and tell the listeners why you came down here today?
Yep. My name's Salome. I came down to this protest at Albanese's office with a group of friends because I live really close by. I'm in Albanese's electorate, and obviously he's all of our Prime Minister as well. Just because, it just feels like, we were just saying, it feels like we're being gaslit. Like, we know that Albanese in the past has been, very vocal about Palestine, and that we're not seeing that at all in his actions. And, any time any sort of sympathy is expressed by federal Labor about the war on Palestine and all of the civilians that are being murdered, we're not actually seeing any action to back that up. It's like finally something has been said, and then there's the same stuff keeps happening and people keep dying and we keep sending weapons over, and it's just it just feels so helpless and scary. Yeah, it's horrible. So we just really want to put that pressure on because we just really want to see that leadership, and we really, really want to see change, and just wanting to see that change be enacted finally, and see what people are feeling actually be represented in our leadership. Because, I think a lot of people, they just must be so compromised, but how compromised can you be where it's at this level of actual genocide happening?
If he was here right now, what would you say to Albo?
I would say I would just say I just wish you would do something. I really just wish I feel like you are not aligned with your people, and I think yourself at a core level as well, and just please do something. Please put sanctions on Israel, just have some really practical, do something that we can all finally see some leadership reflected in what's literally genocide. Like, this country is founded on genocide. Albo was, referring to that with the yes vote, wanting to get the voice through, and then at the same time is letting this happen, and by not actually putting any, sanctions on Israel, and it's so hypocritical. So please do something. We really, really need something to be done. Yeah.
Thank you. And last thing, what do you think it's going to take to free Palestine?
Wow.
Big question.
Yeah, that is a huge question. I think sanctions are a start. I think there's been a really massive, global shift. People are all seeing what's happening, and I think, that type of policy is a start.
Long live Intifada!
Long live Intifada!
Free, free Palestine!
Hi, we're down here at Albo's office. Would you just introduce yourself and tell the listeners why you're down here?
Yeah, hi, I'm Sel, and I live not too far from here, and I'm a teacher, and at the very heart of teaching is try to bring up young people who have a sense of conscience, have confidence, empathy, and have a greater curiosity for the world. And when there's a genocide happening, that is, all discussion stops. So that's why we're here, and then that's why we're here outside the Prime Minister's office. So he knows we're here, but we want him to know we're here and the community cares that this genocide takes place.
And what would you say to him if he was down here?
Well, we will say everything that we've been saying for months and months. The UN has been saying for months. Those babies in Palestine have been dying. Children have been dying. They want peace. What the kids have been saying, what you and I have been saying, what any decent human being who wants to live and not live through a genocide would want to say. Really, it's that simple. He knows all this, but we need to keep him accountable come election time.
And you said you're a teacher. Can you share any experience of your of what it's been like within schools surrounding Palestine at all?
Well, I teach at a secular school, and my views are my views, and they're the views of a lot of teachers. And the department itself has core values which are about empathy, democracy, etc. So what we do here is just applying those fine values. So in the school environment, we always try to teach empathy, respect for people's dignity and so forth. So this is really, in a way, an extension of that, whether the department agrees or not.
And last thing, what do you think it's going to take to free Palestine?
Well, what you're doing, what we're doing, what the world is doing, there's this awakening in the world, and we just got to keep that going, keep that Olympic flame of vigilance, intifada, if you wish, going, and keep putting pressure, keep doing everything that everyone's been saying here and more.
Well, do you want to tell the listeners a bit about the picket? Any of you?
What do you want to say about the picket?
Yeah. Do you want to introduce yourself and tell the listeners about the picket down here and what you guys are doing?
Hi, I'm Michelle. I'm a local constituent of Albanese, and we're sitting here morning and night, and we're here. We used to be 24/7, but we're here and just calling on Albanese and.
And she means we come from all different backgrounds, all levels of society. We share food, we have fine conversations, and we're just there for one another at the picket and out of the picket.
What's been the response from the community while you've been down here?
Really good, actually. I think that the community are really receptive, and people are supportive, and we're just here and hoping that Albanese will respond to us.
And we have these lovely moments, not that we, encourage it, but people come and bring food, they come and share their own stories. It's become a real communal thing, almost has gone beyond the Albanese need to meet with him. We've really meshed and bonded with the community.
I was speaking to someone who spends quite a bit of time down here, and she was talking about how it's changed her so much, and the people that have been down here so much, like from participating in the picket. Can you speak to that at all, in the way that you see that it's changed yourself and your relationship with the community?
I think just getting together and just being with like-minded people and the connection. And for example, last night we had dinner and story yarning and storytelling, and everyone got together, and it's just really amazing people that are just really committed to continuing up the fight for a ceasefire and just not giving up. So yeah, it's amazing.
We have workshops. We help homeless people. We help all kinds of, and all those things. And he's another legend, who's always helping
Living
out.
legend, you heard?
Yeah. Thanks.
Well, thanks so much for talking to us today.
Yeah, it was a really powerful march. It's really great to be marching through Marrickville and seeing all the support people, ducking their heads out through whatever little cafes, and also all the cars driving past. It goes to show that there is so much room to be building, widening and deepening the movement into community, and that there is such huge support. We're going to hear from the next speaker, Sami Nassad, who's a Palestinian who recently arrived back from Gaza just in last December. So, Sami, if you want to come up and share a few words. Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Free, free, free Palestine!
Thank you for everybody for coming today, and a message from Gaza to all of you for your sympathy and support, all respect and courtesy. A message to our Prime Minister. It's over 100,000 people dies, not only 40,000. The 40,000 just whoever goes to the hospital to take a death certificate. So many people being buried without going to the hospital. And so many people gonna die because there is no schools, no hospitals, and no medicine, and no nothing. And now, they described this morning, two polios, one in Deir el-Balah and one in Khan Yunis. The only two cities is got hospital. One Mustashfa Nasser, this is a hospital Nasser, and the second hospital is Shuhada al-Aqsa in Deir el-Balah. And now they ask him to evacuate, the beginning of Deir el-Balah. This is what they're saying, it's a safe area. There is no safe area in Gaza Strip. I just came from there, and it's a terrible situation. Everybody is dying everywhere. It's women, children, people, old people, they're saying they're fighting Hamas. They're not fighting Hamas. They're saying, they're looking for tunnels. They don't find no tunnels. This 11 months now, the war is being just for women and children. The war is being in women and children, and now we asking it's our government here in Australia, to do what's supposed to do. You are supporting Israel. This is a political way. We can't interfere in it. But we are asking don't give parts to that F-35. The F-35 is killing the children. The F-35 is killing the women. It's nothing. There's 80% of the buildings in Gaza Strip is all destroyed. This war is not to fight Hamas, and not to finish the tunnels. This war is to kill the children and the women, to destroy everything. Israel is above the law. Israel is not it's not. Where is the ruling of the CG, the government, the ICG? The ICG ruling, why Israel is above the wall? Why Israel is everybody supporting the hell, keep killing and keep killing and keep killing every day, every moment. The armed trades from Australia to Israel, it's been for a long time, just at least, stop it, to stop the war. You've been asking for ceasefire. We didn't hear, asking for ceasefire. It's over 100,000 people dies, and the Australian government had done nothing. If this war, being in different part of the world, not in Palestine, and not in Arab world, how is the Australian government gonna act? It's being different. But they think like us Palestinians as numbers. We are not numbers. We are names.
We are human.
There is a woman, like, I spoke to her son, like, the only one left in the family. His mom went to hospital, like, asking for her body, like, for 2 dead bodies of her sons. You know what they gave her? 70 kilos of meat.
Shame.
In a plastic bag.
Shame.
270 kilos of meat in 2 plastic bags. They're saying, like, take this. They don't know this is a son or a daughter or 3 legs or 2 hands or whatever. What sort of war is this? What sort of genocide is this? We are 2024. This didn't happen in any part of the world.
That's a Western democracy, mate.
Only in Palestine. Demolishing everything. Genocide for nearly a year now. And nobody doing nothing. But the message from Gaza to all of you is here. That's what we need. People like you. People like you that still got the humanity. People like you that still believe in humanity. But other people, there's plenty of people don't believe. This is only a word for them. Only a word for them. When this war gonna stop? Am I still, like, some of my family still alive? Or maybe I'll lose them again. 38 of my family dead. Now I'm safe. What sort of life I've got? Every day, like, I'm losing something. Every day. We asking, like, our Australian government, please do something. At least, like, stop the parts of the F-35, because they continue killing every day. Every day they're killing children and women. They don't kill Hamas. And everybody making themselves supporting us. If this is more respect, if this is Iran or Hezbollah or anybody, we don't want nobody to support us. We want the war to stop. That's all we need. We're not asking somebody, we're not asking anybody, like, to bomb Israel. Because we see, like, the biggest power in the whole world is with Israel. We are asking them to stop the war. We don't want this war to continue. Because every day is losing lives. Every day we're losing more children, more women. Until when? We're not gonna say about men, like, they at least say about the kids and the women. They done nothing. They're not carrying weapons. They're not fighting Israel. This conflict has been going for 76 years. Not since 7 October. 7 October only a reason to kill everybody in Gaza Strip. Please stop this war. Please ask for ceasefire from your heart. It's not only just words. Please don't follow America. America is the most, like, powerful country in the world, and they're supporting Israel for every day. They're giving bombs, like, tons of bombs thrown on children and women. When this gonna stop? We've been marching, like, you see here in Sydney, like, for 55 weeks. All respect for you all. And again, like, a message from Gaza, children, thank you very much for every one of you. Continue supporting Palestinian and continue standing with the right. And continue standing with the weak against the terrible power. Please stop this war. Please, Mr. Albanese, the Prime Minister, do something. At least stop the arms trade. Stop the pass of the 35. Ask for ceasefire. Do something for this human being. This is not animals. People, like, carrying 70 kilos of meat, going to bury it. They don't even see the last look for their mariners. The last look for their sons. People, like, they're killing, doesn't matter what. They're killing everything. They're wiping everything. Even the war stopped now. How many? There is no houses to go back to. There's no schools, no universities, no hospitals. It's nothing left there. What they want? They bring the ships and just put them, like, in the ships and go out. What's all of this for? It's not for 7th of October. Believe me, it's not for 7th of October, because this genocide is continuous from 76 years. It's not only beginning on 7th of October. Please, Mr. Prime Minister, do something for the rest of my family, for the rest of my people. Thank you all. Thank you.
Really powerful words to hear from Sami. I think, what he's saying, that there is this ICJ case that's been put out. If, we need to sanction Israel. If they won't sanction Israel, we will. There's been an amazing action held outside Inner West Council, and there's been a push by community members locally to make the case to, organise and put into action a BDS motion. Dylan Griffiths is going to come and speak to that now.
Thanks so much, Tubes, and thanks to Sami for speaking, who rightly pointed out that Israel is a rogue state, but it's a terrorist state, and the IDF is a terrorist organisation, and they should be listed as such by our vote. So I'm Dylan. I'm a councillor here in the Inner West. The Inner West, it goes from the Cooks River to Iron Cove, connecting suburbs from Croydon over to Newtown. I represent the Ashfield area, and I'm proud to do so. And it was great to see so many of you the other night turn up in support of a boycott, divestment, sanctions motion at the Ashfield Civic Centre. And comrades, I think it can be easily to be disappointed and to feel hopeless by those shameful decisions of those representatives there at Ashfield. But we must redouble our efforts. We can't give up. Now is not the time to give up. We must push, and we must fight for BDS at every level of local government throughout the community, whether that be local businesses or on council as well. So I'm also a member of the Teachers Federation and the NTU. Shout out to the comrades here today. Proud to be working with you to also get BDS in our workplaces. I just want to talk about a few myths about what happened over at Inner West Council the other day. The first one was made by the mayor, that he said when opposing the motion that we shouldn't have our procurement policies, our investment policies, saying no to companies based off racial and ethnicity. It was a shameful comment and a complete distraction from the actual politics of the motion. Nothing to do with race. It was about companies that violate international law and who commit human rights abuses, and the weapons industry. That has nothing to do with race at all. That is about being human rights focused. It was a low bar that he didn't want to be seen to be voting against, so he's attempting to distract. And we need to call him out on that. The second distraction which he's put out is that I think there was a plot afoot from the very start. There was a lot of disappointment from the gallery, and residents made themselves heard, and people were clearly upset. But they've released a media release, and they've ended the meeting by calling the police when everyone had already left the council building. There was no one there to call the police on, and the behaviour was definitely not warranted for some of the assertions that he made. And that's because Labor, and they do this at the federal level as well, they would rather demonise protesters than stand up for human rights and for peace. Straight from Albo's handbook, and it trickles down to our local representatives. So there's a big connection here, I think, and it's one of the reasons why we should focus, turn our heads to local government, because they're in the same nepotist circles as those in the feds. A lot of them are staff members, a lot of them are the same branches. This is Albo's area. And what we saw the other night is that they would prefer to have an allegiance to the caucus, a blind allegiance to the caucus, than actually stand by our community. Because our community wants a ceasefire, and we want BDS and ethical use of council rates. BDS for the Inner West! BDS for the Inner West!
BDS for the Inner West! BDS for the Inner West!
So, what next? Well, I don't think we should give up, because Fact is, the Inner West Council has $200 million worth of investments, and we want to make sure that's our money, that's the community's money, and we want to make sure that that's not going to companies which are on the BDS list, such as Airbnb, HP, a whole range of companies which are out there, all the 97 companies which are complicit and involved in the occupation of the West Bank. So we can bring it up in 3 months again, right? And they want to say, and this is the third myth, that this is, people who try to bring this up, they try to bring the foreign conflict here, right? And that this is a national level, this isn't a local government, it's not local government business, they'll say. But when it comes down to it, it is about the use of our money. And it's also about the use of the diaspora in our community as well, who are seeing their country bombed to pieces and seeing babies murdered. That is a real local issue. That is trauma for our entire community and the diaspora. So that's very much local. So I think we need to outright reject that. And you know, I think what I'll end by saying is that we can bring it up in 3 months' time, but we've got to continue to fight to other councils. We've seen Canterbury Bankstown pass a motion, Canterbury Bankstown Labor as well, and we want to see those splits. We want to see people breaking away from Albo, breaking away from Tony Burke. You won't do it at a federal level, we'll do it here. So we should look to other Labor councils as well, Parramatta Council, Fairfield Council, Strathfield Council. So we do need to take this local. And you know, we've seen City of Sydney, Marybeck, Darebin, a whole range of councils do it as well. So we've got to continue up that fight and not give up. So let's end with the chant. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free. From the river to the sea, Palestine will be free.
And disclose, divest, we will not stop, we will not rest. Disclose.
Divest, we will not stop, we will not rest. Disclose. Divest, we will not stop, we will not rest.
Okay, thank you so much, comrades. Let's redouble our efforts. Let's give another shot in 3 months, because we won't rest. We won't stop. We won't rest.
Yeah, thanks so much, Dylan. We're going to hear from a speaker now from Stop the War on Palestine, Adam Adelpour.
Hey everyone, I want to thank you all for coming out and standing together as a community to send our message to Albo on his doorstep that we will not stop, we will not rest until he cuts the ties with genocide. We don't want, the kids getting killed is so sad on Twitter and then turn around and sell weapons to the killers. And what we've seen with Israel is it is a genocidal state. Sammy has made that more than clear with what he said. This state is committing genocide. It is a certified apartheid state by the ICJ, and Albo will not sanction them. His party stood up in Parliament and voted against even the limited sanctions put forward by the Greens. So I think what we need to say is this apartheid state needs to be treated the same as the apartheid states in the past. It needs to be treated the same as apartheid South Africa. It needs arms embargoes, it needs sanctions, it needs boycotts until it cannot function. It is a killing machine. But one thing I want to touch on is just this sickening racism that we've seen come out of the Parliament in the last week about the visas that the Palestinians fleeing this genocide. We've seen the filth coming out of Peter Dutton's mouth, the disgusting demonisation, not of the perpetrators of the genocide, but of its victims. But what is almost as sickening is seeing people from Labor who have not stood up against this genocide saying he's the racist. Let's be clear, Albanese is doing what Dutton is saying. Dutton is talking racist, Albo is walking racist. Ask the 7,000 Palestinians from Gaza who have been through what Sammy just described, who have been denied visas by this government. Does it matter to them whether it's Albo or Dutton doing it? It's the same racism, the same bigotry, the same demonisation of the victims of genocide. But what I want to say about that is the final insult is, not only are they treating the Palestinians like this, trying to feed this genocide, calling them terrorists. There are 1,000 Australian citizens who are reservists in the IDF or actually serving in the IDF. Is their movement being restricted? No. They are going to Gaza, carrying out genocide, taking selfies, putting it in the Zionist papers in Australia, then going to the beach. That's what's happening to them. I've literally seen one of these scumbags at UNSW, Rudy Rochman, an IDF soldier, who took selfies of himself in the rubble of Gaza and then came down there to harass the Palestine protests at UNSW. Was his visa rejected? What this is about, this is racist political theatre. It is about dehumanising the Palestinians because Albo knows he plans on continuing to support their slaughter, so he has nothing else he can do than reach into the same filthy bucket of racism that Peter Dutton is reaching into. Shame on you, Albo. The other thing I wanted to touch on was just why our government is so viciously dedicated to supporting this slaughter, to continuing the arms trade, to even the most limited sanctions. They got 1,700 of them on Russia, 1,300 on Iran, and 0 on Israel. And I think we have to explain why that is the case. I think a huge part of it is the criminal alliance between Australia and the United States. This is an alliance with the butchers who went into Vietnam, the butchers who went into Iraq, the butchers who went into Afghanistan, the people who have overthrown democratic governments from Iran to Chile, who supported the Guatemalan genocide, who have covered the world in their bloody footprints. That is who this alliance is with. It's with the United States government, who applauded Netanyahu when he went and visited the Congress, and have now just turned around and given $20 billion to the Israeli killing machine for weapons. It's an alliance with the state that collaborates with Australia to run the Pine Gap spy base that is sending in intelligence for Israel's terrorism in Gaza. It is the alliance with a country that profits from Israel's murder. The United States, it's very simple. The Middle East is full of oil. Israel will attack any country in that region on behalf of the United States. That's why they bombed Lebanon. That's why they bombed Iran and carried out the assassination, to send that message. If you stand up to imperialism, we will give you the same thing that we're giving Gaza. And Australia's role in it is they want to use the bodies of Palestinians as a bloody down payment for the alliance with the United States in this region to gang up on China. That's why at the same time they are supporting this genocide here, letting the arms manufacturing continue. Wong and Miles were over in Washington having the OSMIN meetings with the US officials, which agreed to increase the rotations of B-52 bombers in the north of Australia. The imperialism in Gaza and the imperialism we're seeing in our region go hand in hand. Those bombers are the ones that the US uses to drop nuclear weapons. That is what they are for. That is what they want to turn this continent into a base for. More terrorism like we're seeing in Gaza in this region. So I think the point of understanding that is to understand what we're fighting. They will hold viciously to this foreign policy until we organise to kick a hole in it, in every community, in every workplace, in every factory where they're manufacturing the parts, in every university, in every council. Albo's saying we should turn down the temperature of political debate. No, we will turn up the temperature until you cut the ties. If we have to, we will turn up the temperature until we cook this government, until they cut the ties. The other thing I wanted to touch on is just what this government is doing to the CFMEU. They are attacking that trade union because it was willing to break their anti-strike laws to defend its members. One of them dies on a construction site every week, and they said, no, we're not obeying laws that allow that to happen. But us as the Palestine movement should understand those laws are the same ones that stopped the wharfies at Port Botany. Shame! Free, free Palestine!
Free, free Palestine!
Those laws are the same ones that stopped the wharfies at Port Botany legally stopping work to refuse to load the Zim Israeli ships. They're the same laws that stop university workers striking to cut the exchange ties with Israel. So to break the ties, those laws are going to have to be broken. And that means standing with the union movement, standing with the CFMEU.
Yes.
So I'll just wind up, but I encourage everyone who's come here today to get organised and spread the fight and to turn up the temperature on Albo. You can sign up to Stop the War on Palestine over there. Sonny's got that blue clipboard. Make sure you sign up, come to our meetings. Make sure you play a role in making rallies like this 5 times, 10 times bigger, forcing this government to cut its criminal ties. We can do it. Apartheid South Africa does not exist anymore, and we can bring about the day where the genocidal state of Israel can no longer carry out its murder, its occupation, and its genocide. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much, Adam, and thanks so much, everyone, for coming out and marching with us today. Yeah, just want to echo and reaffirm that, yeah, we've organisers together to stop the war on Palestine. You know, this isn't the first time we've put forward a march through Marrickville. Last time, you know, in the pouring rain, hundreds of people still came out, which shows that there's a real hunger for people wanting to deepen and fight in every local community, every tie that, you know, every place that there's a tie to Israel and a tie to apartheid, Israel and complicity and genocide, there's also workers in a community that want to organise and fight and push back. So yeah, thanks so much everyone for coming out today. Do sign up, stay in touch with us, and free Palestine!